What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode, Amazon Seller News Live, the post-Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Cyber Week, Cyber Month, Cyber Year, I guess they're going to be going for pretty soon here. Overall, Cyber Monday, Cyber Week was very good for me. I hope it was good for everybody else out there as well. And the numbers are looking good. But before we dive into all of that, let me welcome everybody we got on the show today. So in the my upper right here, we got Andrew Morgans of Marknology. So Andrew, appreciate you joining us. Chelsea Cohen of So Stocked. Great little software if you haven't checked it out. And of course, Danon from Ecom Triage. Appreciate you all joining the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Did you all have a good Thanksgiving?
We did. If we're talking about business or personal, I guess they both were good.
Both, yes.
You know, I stayed local, family small. It was very restful, very peaceful. It was great.
Nice. I drove up to Tennessee, and my wife and the kids, they flew up before I got there, right after I got home from Thailand. So they flew out, and then I drove up a couple days later, and nice. It was madness because there are horses and goats and chickens and donkeys and all that stuff out there. So the kids were just like poof, gone. And then we ran out of inventory over Black Friday weekend. So yeah.
Well, you know the commandments of Amazon, so you know that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we got charged for running out of inventory. You know how it is. New fees and all.
Thanks, Amazon. That's so nice of Amazon for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I had some family over, so my brother and his kids and his family. So they met my son for the first time, and it was great. The older one, she was great with him, so it was nice to have a little bit of a breather, had a little bit of a babysitting situation, especially with getting all the turkey in the oven and all that. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw those pictures. They were super cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a big Thanksgiving at my house, about 30 people. So it was kind of cool. We had a nice long, like King's style table set up and everything. And
cool.
Playing outside and stuff, even though it was down into the 50s, but it was still, the sun was out, so it felt good. And it was a lot of fun for sure. And of course, sales were really good. Amazon tried to harm my sales by taking down my best-selling product, which has transparency on it. And we sent in like 400 units or 500 units recently, and they said 30 of them somehow didn't have the transparency code. So they took it down as like we're selling inauthentic product. It's like, all right, so I had to submit everything, and thankfully we got it up before the big sales day hit.
That's good.
Always annoying when that happens.
Stress, just pure stress for no reason.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like it's a new product that we just started selling. We've been selling it for many years. So it's like, come on.
Under the transparency program.
Authentic, I guess. But
yeah.
Amazon doing what it does best, making things hard for sellers.
Dramazon.
What happened with you, Danon? Just like just ran out of inventory, like oversold, like just had a killer. Were you running lean, or were you guys like great and it just took off? Like, I mean,
well, we were obviously running lean. We didn't think so initially, but yeah. And our time to replenishing inventory has increased recently with manufacturers. So that was another factor where we went, okay, we need inventory, and our inventory's in California. So they're manufactured in California, but we didn't get it in time, unfortunately. And of course, check-in now is like,
taking forever.
Yeah. Do you store excess inventory at your supplier's warehouse, or you have to start the manufacturing process from scratch?
No, so the inventory is always being made and sold, and it's manufactured and stored in California, but so it's not our product, right? It's the supplements that we sell, and we've been selling them for a decade on Amazon. And so they're always making and sending inventory. But I think that their process on making it, Jade knows better because she's the one that actually runs this stuff these days, for the last, 8 or 10 years, something like that. And so yeah, there's something changed over on their end. I know they moved facilities recently and rebuilt everything, but yeah, whatever it is, I think it adds another 10 days or so of like, hey, we need inventory. They used to basically ship it out. We'd give them a label, like, here's a label, ship it out, and it'd be out like the next day. Now it's taking like a week or more.
Mm-hmm. Yep, supply chain hiccups going on.
Yeah,
lots of things changing. Do you typically send directly into FBA, Danon, or do you utilize AWD at all?
I think that my wife, no, she, you know what? I don't know. I'm pretty sure we send it all into FBA because the inventory historically has been a day or two away from being shipped into Amazon warehouses, because it's in California, and the majority of our sales are California, Texas, and then in New York and Florida. But it's like really fast to ship an inventory. But I don't know logistically what's occurred lately, but not. Yeah, something.
Yeah, if you're able to get product in, I like to use AWD during this time of year, just so you can kind of overload it a little bit to make sure you're not running out of stock of your best sellers and stuff like that.
I heard like in October even that like AWD was maxed out, not taking any more product. Like, is that right, Chelsea?
Yeah, it had the same timeline as FBA, which was surprising. So yeah, and a lot of people last year had a bad experience. I think it's improved so far, but we saw a lot of people went to AWD in Q4 last year, and then started pulling things, and then as fees got crazy, went back. So mid-year, people started going back, and I think a lot of people are now using AWD newly. So that could be a factor in Amazon kind of changing their rules in terms of check-in.
One thing that was, for anyone listening, like one thing that was like insightful, I guess, to me about it was you don't have to be all or nothing with AWD. So you can have that hero ASIN or that, your two best sellers, and the rest, like, on your own terms, and just have those two in AWD. So that hybrid model is really like, for us, like kind of changed the decision matrix for us, and whether we would do it or not was basically, do we have to do all of them? Because, it is a big risk if they're still glitchy, and how Amazon rolls stuff out, like they're just a nightmare. So for anybody this year that might think about it for next year, just know that you can test and with a couple of your ASINs, and you don't have to do everything.
Yeah. Nice. Having plan A, B, C, and so forth has always been important. Second year I started selling on Amazon, 2015, we had a problem where we gave Amazon all of our inventory, FBA, and they lost it right before the holidays and then found it afterwards. So it's definitely a major problem. One of those reasons why I created So Stocked, because, having that balance and knowing when you can pull a trigger other than Amazon, really having all your eggs, putting all your eggs in that one basket. And I think AWD, it is a different source than FBA, but they are still Amazon. So then having that third piece where you can, let's say, switch to fulfillment, your own fulfillment, because this season is so important.
Yep,
agreed.
Yeah, logistics is so important, and it's a piece of the puzzle that a lot of people don't focus on, because it's not the sexy part of Amazon, like PPC or optimizing a listing or something like that. But yeah, if you don't have that locked down, especially this time of year, you can run into all kinds of different issues.
Yeah, so many times, especially in the last couple of years that I've been doing content and having people on my podcast and stuff like that, it's the unsexy stuff where all your money disappears.
Yeah, I always say it's inventory is the most expensive thing you can get wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I tell my team, for us, it's the PPC. We're spending other people's advertising dollars, like, you know, and inventory. Like, you can make mistakes there. And one of the biggest mistakes I made early on was even like doing a good deed. I was like going to help trunk or treat at the church or something, volunteering, and got an email from a customer like last minute that like he wanted to send in this supplement. Like, can I get him the labels? Just email him over the labels. And it was like K2 and D3, and he had been selling like K2 for a long time. This D3 had been sitting there ready to go, but like not stocked for a couple months, like waiting on it. And so it was like, that's why he was anxious to get it. But I just looked at the label and, you know, it truncates it to just, it looked exactly the same in the shortened title on those FSN SKU labels. Mm-hmm. It was like a $15,000 mistake before I had the $15,000 to lose.
Yeah.
Ended up splitting it with the client, you know, but it was also this product that was moving like, you know, a couple $100,000 a month. So you're having to pull everything out. And so with my team, I'm like, guys, like when we're managing, this is where we can mess up the most, or where we can like, we need to use the most caution is, you know, increasing a client's budget or spending frivolously on, you know, not being negligent on keyword harvesting and things like that. And then also being super careful whenever we're doing anything with inventory to check and double check, triple check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can, you know, and one of the things I talk about is you can run someone into a stock out, or you can run your own brand into a stock out. And so knowing what your runway is and knowing that spike and how much you can sustain, knowing how detrimental it is to stock out, making that plan to figure out what is that breaking point and how do you avoid that stock out? When do you back off on the ad spend and maybe increase your pricing, because then you're avoiding a stock out, hopefully, and you're also increasing the profit of that particular product by reducing the ad spend, you know, increasing the price, slowing down those sales.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you come down on that, Chelsea? And because one of the problems with that, if you start increasing your price, that could potentially harm your conversion rate, which could make you drop in organic rankings. So, because some people talk about, you know, just go full bore out of stock is better than increasing your price. But then at the same time, running out of stock isn't good either.
Yeah, I think that assessing whether you are going to run out of stock and not be able to avoid it, or whether you can save it, you know, you've got product on the way, it's maybe a few days. So it depends on, you know, if you're going to run out of stock, you kind of go out in a blaze of glory. But if you can avoid it, slowly bring down that price or increase that price, because you also don't want to lose that buy box. So being able to make that decision based on the data that you have.
You know, I've actually got a question on that, because I've done this before. Back in the day, we were selling a supplement. We were going to run out of stock, or maybe it was one of our beauty products. I actually don't remember, but we basically doubled the price, right? And our sales actually increased after we did that. Yeah. But these days, if I'm not mistaken, if you double the price, you get buy box suppressed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Most likely that quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the interesting thing about increasing your price is also being able to, and this was talked about, you know, years ago, just testing the price elasticity to see how much am I actually losing? How much are people, you know, able to accept that price? Because maybe you've been priced too low, and it helps you to discover what that sweet spot is.
Yeah, absolutely. There are products out there where their margin might be 10% or 20%, and if they just increase the price $1 or $2 and they're well within the range of acceptability, they double their net profit, you know?
Yep.
There's a lot of factors, like, you know, as an agency owner, I have my own brands where I can do whatever I want with pricing and can test and experiment and do all those types of things. We also have brands that are on MAP pricing, or, you know, wholesaler agreements where, you know, that pricing, you're not able to adjust it, or you shouldn't be. So everyone has their own kind of pricing rules and what's allowed. The way like you can get around some of those is like the bundling plays or things like that to get price higher, or try like what can it really sustain, where as soon as you get it away from a product they have in the other retail channels, you can get a little bit more elasticity. But if you're doing private label, for sure, you got to see where it can go. And something else is like, sometimes the price point is really just tied to the quality of your content. And so if you have great content that's communicating premium or communicating the right things, you can handle a couple dollar increase. If your content is crap and you're just selling a commodity product, that price really matters a lot. And you'll see that there's a certain number you can't get over and they just won't buy it. Like, cause you know, they want to know that. So as an agency owner, you just get a wider view of like all the different things that work or don't. And that, you know, that price point is a huge deal. And you can then sustain, you know, but you're also thinking about what price tiers you get into if you're like in a $10 below product and those types of things. So it's really one reoccurring thing we've talked about already this morning between inventory and ads and price is like just the different pillars of Amazon and really how they're all working together. You got to be able to see that big picture so you really know what to do. Can I get more inventory in time? Do I have FBM backup? Like what are my options when it comes down to running out of stock?
Yeah, well said.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the first news article here. So Cyber Week recap, online sales climb 5%, in-store shopper visits increase 3%. So Cyber Week sales jumped again this year with US e-commerce up 5% and AI influencing 20% of global orders. A major signal that Amazon sellers should expect even more AI-driven shopping behavior and competition. Mobile dominated checkout and BNPL hit new lows, showing where customer convenience is shifting fast. In-store traffic also increased 3%, proving omnichannel still matters and giving Amazon sellers insight into why big box competitors continue to invest in hybrid shopping experiences. Strong early season numbers suggest a $1 trillion holiday season ahead, meaning sellers should push hard now while demand is still elevated. So a couple things I just want to point out there. 5% climb, 3% for in-store. It's good that it increases, but we do have to take into account there's about a 3% inflation year over year, at least official. Unofficial, probably more like 6 to 9%. So if you take that into account, it's not quite as good as it may seem, but still, it feels good that it's increased, especially in the climate that we're in now, where everything, all the news is kind of dire when it comes to the economy in a lot of ways.
I agree. I think, you know, I think 2024, 25 have been very hard years as an agency owner, not just on the agency side, but on the brands within the agency side, you know, getting results there. And I think that we've had a government layoff, right, for extended amount of time. That's a huge portion of our country's employed. And even if it's not them specifically that's impacting it, that's a small amount. But if you were to say, hey, maybe that's 5%, you know, that are now going into the holidays, uncertain. I think the main thing that has been impacting the economy, if anything at all, if you want to put your finger on anything at all, it's that uncertainty. And uncertainty has people being frugal, purchasing different things. Obviously, different money brackets depend. If you're still in that upper class, you're still spending the way you want to spend. But the rest, you know, middle class, lower class, really thinking about what they're spending on, what they're buying, really being frugal, shopping deals instead of just buying stuff. It all impacts it a little bit. And so, you know, pick your poison on what that impacting factor is. But between tariffs, between inflation, between the layoffs, between all of those things, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised at an increase at all.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see where that increase lies. You know, is it, you know, the toys and electronics category? Is it the bulk buys? Because I know I personally bought a lot of, you know, those bulk items, those things that I know I'm going to repeat buy, you know, wet ones, things like that were on heavy discount. And so if the, you know, judging by your comments, are the increases in those essential categories or are they in the toys? What was the split last year compared to this year? And then also the deal prices, I think they were lower because Amazon enforced more. They had the price history calculation. I don't know if you guys saw that feature. Very, very cool feature. Deals can no longer be faked. Like, we've all done it. It's been a thing. Deals can no longer be faked, and you can see those things. So even though the sales dollars have crept up a little, I'd be interested to see the sales units as well, because maybe there are more units being purchased because the deals are better this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a breakdown by category, but they did have this breakdown by top shopping destinations. 47% supermarkets, 45% online, 40% department stores, 37% clothing stores, 30% discount stores.
Supermarkets and discount stores, that looks, those are very high. So that kind of supports some of the value-based essentials buying.
And I know my wife, she went on a whole bunch of websites and bought next year's clothes or the next size for all 3 of the kids.
Okay.
Because especially Black Friday, like these companies, she buys a lot of bamboo for the kids, bamboo clothing, which immediately get destroyed, but we won't talk about that. And so like shirts are normally $20, and she was getting them for $4. So she bought them a bunch of shirts for $4 a piece. And so like and kids' clothes are crazy expensive. But little side note, Chelsea, by the way, how did you ever think that wipes were such an unbelievable commodity before you were a mother?
Diapers, all of it. And looking at, how much you spend, Ari does a lot of the diaper changes. So he's like, no, he doesn't need a diaper change yet. He's going like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like taking money and like, oh, there's a whole bunch of pee in that money, and let me throw that in the trash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You spend a lot on kids, that's for sure. Because they outgrow it every few months. You got to get something new, clothing, new diaper sizes, new.
They wear it like 3 times. My friend sent us like boxes of clothes of all sizes. As soon as she heard, that we had a boy, we were having a boy, she sent all of this stuff to us. So luckily, we haven't had to buy a lot of clothes because they wear them. You pay $20, they wear them 3 times, and then that's
they're a foot longer.
Exactly.
Yeah. My wife, she started this whole totally off subject. Sorry, everyone. But my wife started this entire like clothing, like, okay, you've got a baby girl. Good. This is everything that you need for your baby girl, and we have done like, I probably could fill my truck 2 or 3 times with everything that's gone in and out of our house for clothing and baby stuff and toys and stuff like that. Like, don't buy new. You don't need that $5,000 bill. So, anyhow, recycling.
So this stat, I'm curious what your guys' thought of this is. So AI influences 1 in every 5 orders. So if I move this over here, it says AI has quickly become an important consumer shopping tool. During Cyber Week, AI and agents influenced 20% of all orders worldwide, accounting for $67 billion in global sales, according to Salesforce. Agentic AI drove 17% of orders, or $13.5 billion in sales. This one I thought was interesting. Retailers with their own branded agents saw their sales increase 32% faster than those without agents. So I don't know exactly what AI influenced orders means. Like, did they ask a question to AI before going to buy a product or something? I'm not sure how in depth that is involved, but
it's extraordinarily in depth on our end. So like Jade, my wife, she uses AI like crazy when it comes to finding products. So for instance, we just bought a new vacuum, right? Before we bought the vacuum, she went, we moved houses. Now our whole house is hardwood floors. And so the vacuum we had was for carpet, and it just doesn't work here, and not a long enough cord. So we're like, okay, we need a battery vacuum. It's got to be easy to empty out. And her mom has this Dyson vacuum, and it's got this green light on it, and it lights up the dust like crazy. It's really crazy. And my wife was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So she said to ChatGPT, I want this manufacturer. It needs to have this feature. It needs to be a canister, blah, blah, blah. And it goes, oh, here are your options from Dyson that have all those features. Boom, boom, boom. These model numbers. Now she goes and she investigates each model number, goes, okay, I know that that's the model she had. Let's see if there's a newer version, right? And so she basically goes, it's kind of like, you know what it's kind of like is like the new version of Amazon. When someone goes to Amazon to search for a product, they know what they want to solve, right? And so they're looking for a product to solve a known problem. And so they roughly know exactly what product they want. They just need to decide on which of them. And so that's what ChatGPT has become for us. Like even when I was going to get my vehicle, I went, I want a truck that has these features. Which models have those features, right? And
you asking better questions instead of just like the generic top of funnel ones. Like I guess you're just going deeper. Like instead of just saying I want a truck or what are the top trucks, you're now saying I want trucks with these things. Like so it's just making everything a little bit more accurate. And I think like even with Google, you know, we call it Googling something. Well, did you Google it? Did you look it up? Like, you know, did you research what that word means or like what that thing is? And it would be like a curated list. It got to a point where it could be a curated list of the top 10 trucks, or like if people are paying to be on the list, and you know, like who wrote this blog? Oh, it's coming from Ford. Okay, like and their trucks included with GMC. And there's a level of like filtering through that you have to do to be like what's authentic. And I feel like if she hadn't even said Dyson, but she had just said like a dust light with a tube cylinder and you know, cordless. You know, I'd put those things in there. ChatGPT isn't biased, if that makes sense. And so it's just going to list them. And if it's Dyson, it's Dyson. If it's not Dyson, it's going to say it's Shark or it's Hoover vacuums or whatever. And I think that's one of the things that I like about it is that I don't feel like I'm being manipulated by a Google expert like I am on Amazon, you know, in a way. Like the word manipulation might be like, you know, I think a lot of us have been cleaning up the Amazon catalog as much as we've been gaming it. We've been cleaning it up for years, and AI is just kind of like righting some of those wrongs. I feel like as a positive way of seeing it.
Now, this is interesting. I've never seen this version where you're actually choosing features here.
Yeah, so I got alerted to this just the other day. It's a new called shopping research.
Oh,
if you can select it from the plus sign here in ChatGPT.
Oh, I'm behind then.
I mean, it will ask you questions and things. And now it's showing me different ones, and I can preview them and rate them. Like, yeah, give me more like this one. No, I don't like that one. Why don't I like it? You know, I don't like the style or something like that. And so it kind of narrows it down for you.
There's the one. That's wild.
Pulling it in from Walmart, Best Buy, Dyson's official website.
Ryobi. Ryobi makes one?
I guess so.
I have the battery for Ryobi.
Hoover, there we go.
But yeah, so this is really cool. But I mean, I've never seen this. We were just using it as a normal text back and forth, but this is like, wow.
Yeah, it's definitely more in depth. I thought it was kind of cool that it helps you narrow it down and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think anything that's that has that authentic play. And the thing is AI is sure it's not a human. It's like, you know, it's an intelligence like to an extent, and there's a scary element to it, but it's also like it's bringing back better communication in some ways. It's bringing back like authenticity with its responses and results. Like it doesn't feel like it's biased toward one thing or another.
It's not like bestvacuums.com and top 10 vacuums.com with 10 affiliate links.
That's what it feels like anyway. Whether it's being done to us or not, it feels more that way. And I think that's why it's being embraced.
OpenAI did make a statement. I can't remember exactly when, but that you will not be able to pay for results on products. There's the way it was
they
worded,
won't put ads in the results.
ads in the results. Yeah,
essentially.
And that's right. And so the way it was worded made me think, okay, there's a way around that statement a little bit, but not getting direct response being ads, I think is going to be fantastic. And as long as ChatGPT goes, okay, this is what the client wants. These are the features it wants. Let me take a look at real reviews on these products. Let me get an assessment of everything, the pros, the cons, and stuff like that. I mean, that would obviously be a deep research thing, but you can see it's still going. I think it is actually using deep research to get your results.
Yeah, it said it was looking at the page, getting prices and checking review citations for Dyson and Shark is what it's doing now. So it's going super in depth, it appears. But the question is, where is it getting the information? Is it pulling information from top10vacuums.com?
Right.
Or how exactly is it casting a wide enough net, I guess is what I'm saying, to not be manipulated by those kind of sites.
Yeah. Look at this. It's even giving you it's like at the gas pump. It's giving you little bits of information as it's doing its job. Sorry.
Yeah. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Have you guys seen
best
the new
overall? There you go.
The new
B15. Sorry, go ahead, Chelsea.
Yeah. So have you guys seen the new search on target feature on ChatGPT? When you're searching something, there's a little icon on the bottom that says search on target, and you can click it, and then it'll look for you on target specifically. So we'll probably see more of that, where it is kind of a choose your own adventure rather than a manipulation. A choose your own adventure. Go, well, I shop on Amazon or I shop on Target, so yeah, let's see. I get free shipping there, so I'm more inclined if you can find something.
Wow.
I mean, it's what we would do naturally if we could. I mean, I remember shopping with my dad for computer. We build our own computers and stuff when I was little, and he would go to Micro Center and Best Buy and different places and get the rebates. And, or my grandma would have her coupon book and she'd know to go to Hy-Vee for this and Price Chopper for this. And you manually did it. You manually went to your stores and wrote down the prices. And then you knew where to go for what. At least it's changed a lot since I was a kid, but I remember that. And then this is kind of the same thing where it's okay, I have free shipping here. So on a big item that I have to pay shipping, it makes sense to go here. And or maybe my groceries are use this one versus a different one. Like Amazon, I've ordered groceries. I've been working a lot, and I've ordered groceries online to have them delivered. And it can be costly, but it's cheaper than my hour, if that makes sense. Okay. So doing what I have to do. But I've also recently ordered something on Amazon, and Amazon is really pushing their Amazon Fresh once you make a purchase. And so it's oh my God, it's a lot cheaper to buy anything that's within Amazon Fresh. I mean, the prices almost seem like they're just, they're launching a product at a really low price to try to get reviews and stuff going, as it seems like what's Amazon's doing. But that has jumped up, and now it was this is my price if I go in person. This is my price, and it has my orders if I'm buying from, let's say, Instacart. And then but Amazon's jumping into the game, and I'm having to kind of write down where can I get what is the best way to do it. Kind of old school.
I can see ChatGPT becoming or building a full-blown dedicated shopping system, just like what you just did here, wherein they're even taking into account best deals. So if you can connect your Amazon account, connect your Walmart, connect your Target, and all your other platforms, then you can say, find me the best deal for this product. And it'll go, well, you're logged in and you've got API, you've got a credit here, coupon here, blah, blah, blah. So the best place to buy it is here. And you go, good, buy it and ship it to me.
Dane, and I can't help but think this is a primary reason to be omni-channel. Let's say that Amazon is not listed in the LLMs or as far as a link, a listed product, but let's say Walmart or your Shopify can be, or Michaels.com or Wayfair, some of these other big retailers that have some juice that are embracing OpenAI maybe a little faster than Amazon is. I'm sure Amazon will be there. They're not going to not show up in Google results, so to speak. But right now they're not, and like Walmart and Shopify are. So, you know, if you can't get you're an Amazon seller, Amazon's not listing there, you're losing out to everybody that is selling on some of these other channels that are integrating with OpenAI.
I fully agree. And that goes doubly, I think, for the reviews. You should have your own website where you have legitimate reviews from clients. Because I think that ChatGPT is going to be looking at that stuff. It's not just going to go look at Amazon. You know, if you're an Amazon seller and you've got an e-com website and you don't have any reviews on there, you don't have your specs properly, and it's just a landing page with a buy now or buy with Prime, I think that's going to be a big mistake.
Yeah, I think that's going to be critical. The amount of commerce going directly through the AI agents right now is still extremely small, but I think it's going to grow quickly. And like you said, there is no Amazon here. We got results from Best Buy and Home Depot, and then one that goes directly to Tinico US store, which I'm assuming is some Chinese brand probably, but it looks like they've got a Shopify store. And so they're getting picked up, and they're the budget pick for the vacuum. So definitely important to at least have a Shopify store with your products, a functioning Shopify store. And even if you're fulfilling it through Amazon, have your own reviews and things like that so that you can take advantage of and get included in these kind of results.
Yeah, that's crazy that standalone store compared to all the others that are in that list, which are just like massive retailers, I'm sure, with like massive backlinks or whatever used to make websites rank well on Google. You know, they still have that juice. And then to have I don't know of this Tinico brand, but I know of all the others, right? And so they're in that lineup. That's pretty amazing for a brand.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Amazon.com here and just search. I bet you that brand is in Amazon, but let's see. Yep, right there. They're not rated very well on Amazon, though. 3.7.
3.7, pretty rough.
Well, they got a different one. That's the S30 at 141. So they're a little bit low on Amazon.
As a heavy vacuum user, maybe like that's where my ADHD goes, is like I just vacuum all the time. But like it's always the batteries with these. Like, you know, I love Dyson, but it's always the battery is the first to go. And if it's not a good brand, like I would almost, you know, bet that it's a battery thing.
There's the battery life. 271 negative, 197 positive on the battery life.
Wow.
And motor life looks like the motor stops working for most of the people.
Get what you pay for, I guess, you know.
It makes you wonder because obviously ChatGPT got its information from at places other than Amazon, then most likely, because otherwise, if they had gotten any information from Amazon, they probably wouldn't have included that vacuum. Now it is the budget pick, right? It's not listed as the top pick. The top pick is the Dyson.
Well, Amazon is blocking ChatGPT and any other LLM and scrapers
because they have their own.
They have their own, and this is one of the things that I run into an issue on with the reviews is even getting the reviews. Amazon's blocking everything from downloading. So, you know, it's this came in really much heavier after the advent of ChatGPT. But basically, Amazon doesn't want anyone scraping their data. They've said that for a long time, right? Like, we don't like this. They don't want anyone gathering their data because their data is valuable.
Yeah. So essentially, Brian, the answer to that is no. It does not look like it. I mean, we don't know for sure. I don't think it tells us exactly. Well, it shopped for 5 minutes. And so it's not giving us exact specifics where it pulled all the data. It doesn't look like, but I'm assuming not. Otherwise it probably wouldn't be there, but let's see what it says here for the trade-off. Shorter battery life, 40 minutes, on carpets. I don't see anything about the motor dying, which if it had pulled reviews from Amazon, it would know about the motor dying. So, I doubt it.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
so that
you
brings up
can't
the
even,
question of how effective can ChatGPT be without the data from the largest e-commerce store in the world?
and the largest source of reviews, product
Well,
reviews.
think about it as authenticity again. So, you know, if you were scraping YouTube, scraping TikTok, scraping Amazon, scraping Walmart, scraping an internal brand's website, there's no guarantee. There's 0% chance of having a perfect guarantee that those reviews are not biased or gamified, or someone's been encouraged, even if by send a free product, to leave an honest review. Even a Vine reviewer is given a free product to an extent to leave a fair review. Maybe that Vine review was, the price was dropped when they got the Vine review, like all the strategies that are employed, right? So all of those things to say, there's no guarantee. I think Reddit might be like the last frontier of like people commenting that's not actually like they're not being sponsored, or they're not influencers or creators that are incentivized to do anything. Almost every other channel, to an extent, even Amazon, has a level of bias and has a level of, like, you know, creators and influencers and Amazon associates and Amazon influencers, all that stuff, having an impact. And those are people's biased opinions.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how long Amazon can hold out and remain siloed if AI starts chipping away at the market share for e-commerce. We're not even close to that at all. Something like 1% of e-commerce right now goes through AI. 20% is influenced, however they're tracking that, but 1% actually checks out through ChatGPT or some other platform. So there's a long ways to go, but we're in the very early days of it. So it'll be interesting to watch if Amazon can hold out.
What's incredible, well, like the last thing I'll say is what's incredible is like there isn't really a marketplace that exists that pulls in everything. Like, you know, you can be on Amazon, but then you need to go on Etsy, but then you need to go on, like, you know, if you're looking for a certain thing, you need to pull up certain different marketplaces and search all of them and then make a decision. And what's really cool about this is like truly being able to like maybe pull in an Etsy and a Walmart and the website itself all in one in one search. And to like, to anyone listening, I would say the best thing that you can do if you are an Amazon seller is just optimize for Rufus and Cosmo to the best of your ability, like on Amazon. If you have off Amazon stuff like Shopify, Walmart, do that as well, or see if you can integrate with OpenAI, because it's obviously a setup that you do to have your products listed there. But if you're on Amazon and we know it's not there yet, do all of the things for their AI agent. That's a lot of webinars are talking about, people are putting out content on, and when that time comes, you'll be optimized and ready to go if it integrates with everything else.
Yeah, let's jump onto the next article here, because it goes right along with what we're talking about. So tech giants build synthetic Amazon and Gmail for AI training. Tech companies are now building synthetic replicas of Amazon and Gmail to train AI agents, allowing them to practice shopping, comparing products, and checking out inside a fake Amazon environment. For Amazon sellers, this means AI-driven shoppers will soon become more common. Agents that automatically find deals, select products, and optimize purchases, making listing quality, pricing, and keyword relevance even more critical. So this is interesting because they can't get access to the real Amazon. They're just creating their own duplicates of it. So I can see the lawsuits coming shortly on this already. But the question on it will be if that'll be effective at all, if they can actually stop these AI agents from browsing Amazon and checking out for customers.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as, an AI war games, trying to recreate the platforms and the scenarios to, figure out what the plays are. I think it would be interesting to use this to, obviously they're trying to predict buyer behavior, but trying to categorize, and I think Amazon it would be great to see them do this to a larger extent, trying to categorize the buyer types. You have the pro buyers, you have the the value buyers, the brand loyal buyers, that sort of thing, and start to tailor the offers. And Amazon's trying to get into content, that sort of thing, to the particular buyer type, technical specs and things like that for the technical buyer and so forth.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and to answer Brian's question, do you think Amazon is powerful enough, or are they pulling a blockbuster here? I think it's just a matter of time before they relent. To me, AI is the future of search and finding anything. So it'd be like Amazon saying, okay, we're going to block Google from showing our search results because we want people to come to our website or instead. Maybe in the early days, that might have been something they got away with, but in the long run, that would be a really dumb play because Amazon gets a ton of traffic from Google.
Yeah.
So I can see eventually they're going to have to relent and open up to this kind of thing because it's just going to be a more natural way of shopping and looking for products once this is all built out and more effective.
Yeah, they're going to probably keep this stuff away as long as they can and then give little tidbits. Like, think of the difference between Apple and Android, right? Android comes out with all these new features and stuff like that. They're really awesome. They're super helpful. And then Apple 5 years later goes, and now you can do multi-touch on your screen. Revolutionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone at Apple's like, oh, they're so good. I was just waiting for this. And Android people are like, we've had that for half a decade.
Yep.
And I think that's what Amazon's essentially going to do here is they'll allow little bits and pieces to go so that they look like they're heroes to everybody, but really the rest of the world is operating in a much more efficient manner. Because if Amazon doesn't open it up to the LLMs, they're going to miss out, and they are missing out right now. And the only way that I could think of Amazon preventing that from happening is going, oh, well, we just released Amazon Galactica, and it's your own search, your own LLM that's also tied into Amazon.
Yeah.
And I can see them doing that.
It's like that article we just read, though, that said like 30% increase from the retailers that have their own AI agents, right?
Yeah.
So there is a benefit to being in the bulk, but there's also a benefit to having their own AI agents, and they are doing their own AI agent play. I think about it. I think it was like last year, maybe 2 years, time flies, but Amazon and Meta and Amazon and Snapchat and Amazon and TikTok all partnered. We're now like from the swipe up, you can like click to buy on Amazon, and they've integrated like that, and they never had before. It used to be like,
that was last year,
right? Well, that was a huge play. And I think it was a precursor to like something like this happening as well, which is they are playing with all the big dogs. And once TikTok changed a lot of things where Meta got in line, and Instagram changed to be more like a TikTok in discovery and search and things like that. And I think Amazon will too. They're just, look, think of it like being a small brand and the things that you have to do to find little like niches and little opportunities and little blue oceans. Like you're strategically trying a bunch of things because you're smaller. And when you're the big dog, you don't have to do that to an extent. You can just operate on brand, and you can move a little bit slower. And you're like, I'm going to do moves that like last 5-year moves, not like this 6-month move. And to Amazon's end, I'm just like, if I've been in tech for 15 years, like a lot of you, and if we jumped at every little change, we would be constantly
produce nothing.
We'd be jumping everywhere, right? Yeah. So I think they're working really hard on their own tech, and they want to, just before they start bringing in other stuff, they want to like really perfect Rufus and Cosmo. And then when they feel like that's really strong, I mean, think about all the layoffs they made. That's to invest into AI. I think 15,000 employees or something crazy like a couple months ago. And think about those layoffs too, not jumping subjects, but back to what we were saying earlier, there's been like massive layoffs across like T-Mobile, Amazon, some of our massive American corporations in double digits, right? Like absolute or 5-6 digits, people being laid off all affecting the economy. Didn't even think about those layoffs. Like I've had quite a few people affected that I know. So anyway, just I know that actually is because Amazon's investing heavy into their own branded AI agents. So I really do believe it's a matter of when, and it's like just same thing when you're changing a bunch of stuff on Amazon as a seller. It's like if you change too many things at one time, you don't know exactly what made the difference. And I think Amazon can be, because I mean they push stuff on us before it's ready all the time. They're not always Apple. Like a lot of their stuff is like crap when it first launches,
and they don't even tell you about it either.
Yeah, it's just like I mean there's nothing more embarrassing, right, than being like a partner agency and they drop something to a customer and you're like, I haven't even heard about that yet. But to that end, I think they're just going hard on Rufus, Rufus and Cosmo, and don't want to muddy the waters too much all at one time.
Yeah, something that I just thought about is obviously Amazon has a lot of valuable data, right? Just the volume of products they have, the volume of reviews, the eyeballs and stuff that they have. What if at some point Amazon's like, okay, Perplexity, would you like a licensing deal to get access to all of our products? How much are you willing to pay us to get exclusive access to our full catalog of reviews and everything else? Because that's valuable content. And TV shows and stuff have been doing this forever, right? They get exclusive license to be on, AMC or something like that. And they pay millions or billions of dollars, depending on the show for that. You could potentially see something similar with Amazon and holding that out to get more money from these LLMs to use their data.
Yep.
And which one do you pick? You want to pick the winning horse, right? To an extent, you want to pick the winning horse.
Yes. So definitely could see something like that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. It's exciting, if you're into this kind of stuff, especially someone who was around at the beginning of the internet and seeing the internet really take off. This is kind of like a whole new version of that. So it's exciting to see how things are going to play out here.
Yeah, maybe Amazon's even partnering with the tech giants and is like, look, you need to get your tech working perfectly before you even touch ours. So go build a replica, show me that it's working perfectly, and then we'll start talking. Instead of a lawsuit, it could be that they're like, hey, if you want our contract, you need to prove that you can do this like seamlessly, and that there could be some of that stuff going on, that they're just trying to get it right before they implement.
And they'll put in their contract, and you're not allowed to ask us the difference between why one line on this API has different data than this line that's the same thing, same piece of data. Don't ask us about our tech. Just make yours perfect before you can use ours.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, exactly. So we're pretty much to the top of the hour. I'm just going to jump onto this next article, just throw it out there because to me, it's kind of exciting. So lawmakers urge Amazon and FTC for clearer product origin labeling. So lawmakers are pressuring Amazon to promptly display country of origin information, component sourcing percentages, and whether sellers are U.S. or foreign controlled. Now, this is something that we've talked about a lot, Dane, in the past, that we wish we had a button, show me only U.S. made products, show me only U.S. sellers.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see a comeback. It sounds like there's a coalition of Congress people who are pushing for it. So
I'm all for it. I don't see it happening.
I would like to. So I can see a lot of ways where this goes sideways, because I'm about as much as I buy on Etsy, which is generally international, the stuff I find, I am about made in USA, and for a lot of different reasons. One, I can get a hold of the people that made it, which is nice. But the other thing is, like, now there's like assembled in the USA. What if you're an American that's living abroad? So it's like an American company, you're paying taxes here, but it's made in China. What does that impact? Like, what do we actually clarify or classify as made in USA? Does it need to be, what if the box comes from India? What if, so like to those components, and maybe that's the component makeup.
Yeah. you'll have
for every
percentages.
Yeah, I mean, I see so many made in USA badges that I'm like, okay, if we actually like went through, you know how hard it is to get something entirely made in the USA? Like, it's actually pretty hard for a lot of products. So
my supplements are
supply chain is going to be difficult, and Chinese suppliers or Chinese sellers are always going to find a way around it. You know, especially with is it a
Delaware companies?
That one is, I think, useless. You know, whether it's a foreign or domestic country or company, because you know it's very easy to become a domestic
American company.
Yeah, I almost want to see it like need a badge, like kind of like or like FDA approved or something like this. That's like if you want to be made in USA, and maybe it could be assembled in USA to a certain percentage, or you know, put together by the components are put together by American workers, or like some kind of thing like that. But it's like it actually has to be validated. That would make it so much more valuable if you're like that company.
Yeah, you'd have to get certified, some kind of certification that says this is a U.S. company owned by U.S. citizens and have it certified in some way.
Amazon's got something that I
got
tried to go
business
through.
Certification, veteran certification,
yeah,
women-owned certification, all those different ones that you can get for as a seller. So they would have to do something similar like that.
And they've got something. You used to be able to just say made in the USA, and now they don't like you just telling that to people. And then they put some kind of program where you could make it so that it was, but even though our products are manufactured in the United States, packaged in the United States, shipped and sold in the United States by Americans in America, we didn't qualify because the ingredients that are used to make the supplements are from all over the world. So it's not it's not a made in the USA product. So, you know, I think the component part is probably going to be pretty cool. If they did the same thing with sellers, like you got to send Amazon a blood sample and then be like, okay, cool, you're 30% European, 5% Indian, so we'll give you a credit of this over here. You're 12% Chinese, so no import fees for you.
Everybody has to do ancestry DNA to get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you, like Chelsea was saying, like it's easy. You do a Delaware corporation, and you're good to go. You can be a foreign entity. You create an S corp. You're in Delaware. Boom, you're an American company, right? And there are tax reasons and stuff like that, and like they've got their own courts specifically for corporate courts. But you know, are you a Chinese? But are you actually just a Chinese company? Is the money going into America and then going into China? You know,
that's that ridiculous law that came out about those LLCs that you had to report every owner on the LLC, and it was like passed through, and then like I think Trump backed off of it. So like, I mean, I had done all the work, and I have like too many LLCs to mention, so it was a pain in the ass for them to just back off of it. Like, you know, by the time you pay your CPA and whatever, I think that was the point, kind of, was being able to see who owns what at the LLC level, and it's really just to find this many people, but everybody's doing it, and that was such an ask that they backed off already. So I don't know.
It'll be interesting to watch. We'll see. But we're over the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Everybody's got a busy day ahead of them, I'm sure. But I appreciate you, Andrew, Danon, Chelsea, for joining me, and everybody out there watching. We'll do this again next Thursday. So until then, everybody have an awesome one.
See you guys.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.